Power Hour Hogs. I couldn't believe this when I read it, okay? Chad Morris himself in the most Chad Morris way possible. I didn't think Chad Morris could Chad Morris any more than he's already Chad Morris, but he Chad Morrised himself, and he Chad Morris two players on the Arkansas team in the worst way possible, okay? I read this story from one of my favorite college football writers, Andrew Hutchinson of hogbeat.com. Check him out, NWA Hutch, my longtime friend. And I couldn't believe this. I couldn't. So, as many of you know, in college football, if you're a freshman or any level of eligibility, you can play 4 games and not lose a year of eligibility, okay? So I'm going to warn you before I continue with this that out of all the things Chad Morris has done, I don't know why this story's not getting more press, and I don't know why Chad Morris could Chad Morris himself any Chad Morris way possible, but he did, okay? More so than the horrible coaching staff with John Chavis. More so than the non-competitiveness in the SEC. More so than the losses to San Jose State, Colorado State, and so on and so on. More so than any of those other things. Left lame, hammered down, stupid BS, rhetoric, whatever. Out of this, I have got to fan myself down. I just couldn't believe this. I could not believe this, okay? So, Arkansas this year, it's no mystery that they've had to play a lot of freshmen, okay? The roster called for that. But if you're going to play freshmen, you've got to be decisive, okay? And you've heard me say that nonstop about Chad Morris. His biggest problem has been his decisiveness. He's changed who he is as far as his rhetoric and how he talks, and going from left lane hammer down to just no gimmicky words at all. And not deciding who your quarterback's going to be, back and forth, not deciding how your offense is going to be or how your defense is going to be. It has crushed him, all right? And it crushed 2 players, Bo Limmer and Jalen Catalon, okay? Both highly recruited players, both players that have bright college football futures. And the way that they've managed those player snaps has to be the most inexplicable, dumbfoundingly stupid piece of coaching I've ever seen. And this alone is worth losing your job. I really do believe that, because the one thing you do as a college football coach is when you tell the parents or the guardians of the kids being recruited, you put those kids' best interests first. All coaches say that, okay? And then they say also, we're also going to put the team's best interest in as well. And what Chad Morris managed to do is the opposite of both of those things. So, Arkansas has played Bo Limmer and Jalen Catalon in 3 games, which means their remaining games that they're allowed to play while keeping their redshirt year is 1. Arkansas has 3 games left. So it's not so much that you've had to play them, it's how they've actually been used, okay? So Bo Limmer against Alabama had to play 3 snaps, okay? Arkansas had a ton of injuries on the offensive line. They had nowhere else to go, and he had to be forced in. Fine. It happens. But Bo Limmer also played a kneel-down snap against Colorado State. Let me repeat that. They put him in for a kneel-down, okay? You're doing nothing on a kneel-down. But they burned his first game on a kneel-down. Guess what? Basically the same thing happened against Mississippi State, where he played 3 snaps. He replaced Myron Cunningham at left tackle to play 3 snaps. Why? Why? Why do this? You should be able to keep up with the amount of snaps that these players actually play. What are you doing? I'm getting hot. Okay. So that right there, all right? So now he can only play 1 more game, okay? Unless you want him to play the rest of the season and burn his red shirt in a lost year. Why would you do that? Jalen Catalon's even worse. You shouldn't have played him in any of the 3 games, Because look at his snap breakdown. 2 kneel-down snaps against Ole Miss. A game that you were losing. You put him in for 2 kneel-down snaps. Why? Why? Then he played 1 snap of kickoff coverage against Kentucky. And then on top of that, he played 2 meaningful defensive snaps against San Jose State. If you were going to play him, play him. Now, here's the thing. Jalen Catalon was my highest-ranked Arkansas recruit, period. It was him and Jalen and Traylon Burks. Those are my 2 highest-ranked players going into this year. And I have long advocated for him to even start at the beginning of the year. I think his tape is that good. Lacks a little speed, but his ball skills are through the roof, okay? Why hasn't he played more? Why didn't you put Devin Bush in? He's already transferred. Why would anyone play for a coach who would do that to Jalen Catalon? And they plan on playing him against Western Kentucky, but obviously it's going to be his last game of the year. He won't be able to play against LSU or Missouri. Why would you do this when you know the season is tanking and you're putting guys in that are freshmen for kneel-down snaps? You see, this is why you can't have this guy coaching any team for that matter at this level. It's too much pressure, and you do stupid things like that. Now, that might not be his fault. You could put some of the blame on John Chavis, the defensive coordinator, or Dustin Fry, the offensive line coach. It's an actual entire coaching staff thing. You should be in Chad Morris's ear saying, yes, listen, it's not worth it. We shouldn't do this. And if you're the parents of those kids, you should be infuriated, not only with how the team has performed, but also because of something like that. That is bad, horrible. Any word you want to use, it is that, okay? And that, to me, is enough for me to say that guy should be fired. Whoever is coaching that team and is not putting those kids' best interest forward, that's a big problem. And this leads me back to one final thing, and we'll get into this a little bit more during the course of the video, okay? You remember Jonathan Nance, and you remember other transfers such as Michael Petway of Iowa State and whoever else is transferred and going to a different program. Don't you think that they kind of saw the writing on the wall and they said, yeah, I don't want to play for this guy. Well, what are we doing? So I think we owe those players an apology as well, because if you see stuff like this, this is just tip of the iceberg type of stuff. And I've heard different things behind the scenes about how this program's being run, and you guys have seen it on the field. It's bad. And that, to me, this crawls me the worst. I don't even know if that's even a word. Crawls me, because if I were those kids' parents, that is horrible. And I would tell the coaching staff, do not play my kid in the final 2 games. It is not worth them losing a year of eligibility, okay? You don't blame the NCAA. You don't blame anyone. This is all on Chad Morris and his staff. Don't put it on the kids, because a lot of people are going to say, well, the kids should have come forward and say, well, hey, coach, I don't know if this is a good idea. No, they go play, okay? Comment below. Let me know what you think. And this story deserves more press because it shows more of the ineptitude at Arkansas. Like, share, comment. You guys have a wonderful weekend. It's Carter the Power with Power Hour Hogs.